Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Today, inshallah, we will study uh, the rules of Hamzat al-Wasl, this letter. Hamzat al-Wasl, or you can say Alif Wasl. The Alif with the small sad at the top. How can we start reading from this letter? We know if this letter at the beginning of the word, we read it. How? Like this word. How do you read this? But if I told you start reading from here, if the next letter is lam after Hamzat al-Wasl, I have Hamzat al-Wasl or Alif Wasl, and the next letter is lam. Maybe this lam has a clear sukun, or maybe Hamzat al-Wasl followed by lam, but lam has nothing. Okay, or maybe Hamzat al-Wasl followed by lam, but lam has shadda. Okay, anyone, lam sukun, lam has nothing, lam shadda, we say a. We read it Hamza, like Hamza, fatha. We say a. No, there is no alif, sorry. We say a here, a. So here we say al, like this one. Al-Muhsinin. Here the lam has followed by shadda. Hamzat al-Wasl followed by lam shadda. Alladhi. Here Hamzat al-Wasl followed by lam has nothing. Skip the lam because lam has nothing, is silent. So read the double sin. As-Samai. So again, if Alif Wasl or Hamzat al-Wasl followed by lam, whatever this lam, lam sukun, lam has nothing, lam has shadda, we read it Hamza fatha. Again, al-Baba, al-Muhsinin, lam shadda, alladhina, okay, and lam has nothing. As-Samai, okay, this is if the lam has, if Hamzat was followed by lam. How about if the lam, if the Hamzat al-Wasl, this letter, is not followed by lam, the next letter is not lam, like this one. The next letter is dal. So what should we do? In this case, we follow the rule of the third letter. We follow the vowel of the third letter. How? We look at the third letter. Where is the third letter here? I have Hamzat al-Wasl number 1, dal number 2, and kha number 3. So how can we start? The rule says, if the third letter has dhamma, this is Hamzat al-Wasl. This is letter number 2, in between Hamzat al-Wasl and the third letter. The rule says, if the third letter has dhamma, start with Hamzat al-Wasl with dhamma. Okay? If the third letter has kasra, start with Hamzat al-Wasl carries kasra. If the third letter has fatha, should we start with Hamzat al-Wasl fatha? No, this is exception. Also start with Hamzat al-Wasl with kasra. So again, if the third letter has dhamma, start with Hamzat al-Wasl with dhamma. The third letter has kasra, add kasra to Hamzat al-Wasl. If the third letter has fatha, also add kasra. Fatha is only when the Hamzat al-Wasl followed by lam. We read it Hamza fatha, we read it a. So only pronounce it fatha when the next letter is lam. If the next letter is not lam, never read fatha. Never read it a. Okay? It will be u or e. Give me some examples. Here, this one. The third letter has dhamma. So how can I start from here? That's if you started from Hamzat al-Wasl. We are talking about Hamzat al-Wasl. If I told you start reading from here, of the beginning of the if the beginning of the sentence Hamzat al-Wasl. So here we will say udkhulu. Why u? Because the third letter has dhamma. Udkhulu, udkhulu. Okay, how about this one? There is no lam, so I have to look at the third letter. Third letter is ta. Ta dhamma or fatha or kasra, it's ta fatha. So should we add fatha? No. We said here, if the third letter has fatha, also add kasra. So it will be istasqa. Istasqa. Okay. Here. The third letter has kasra. So I will start with Hamzat al-Wasl with kasra. Idrib. 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 Okay. So again, If the Hamzatul wasl followed by lam, we read it lam sukoon, or lam has nothing, or lam has shadda, we start with Hamzatul wasl Okay. How about if there is no lam? We look at the third letter. If the third letter has dhamma, so start with Hamzatul wasl with dhamma. Third letter kasra, start with kasra. Third letter fatha, also start with kasra. We have 3 examples here. Udkhulu, udkhulu, and ista, because the ta fatha, istasqa, and here idrib bi'asaka. idrib bi'asaka. Okay. Another one here. How do you start from here? The third letter has fatha, so it will be ishrabu, ishrabu. Another one. How do you start from here? Imagine this is the beginning of the word. It will be ud'u, ud'u. Another one. Here. Ihbitu. Why? Because the ba has kasra. Okay. Let me find another one. How do you start reading from here? If I told you, imagine this is the beginning of the sentence, and you will have to start from here. How do you start from here? We follow the rule of the third letter. So where is the third letter? Someone will say qaf, dhamma. So we will say uttaku. Is this correct? Uttaku. No, that's not correct. Why? This is confusing, I know. Because here, the third letter is the second ta. Because ta is double letter. Ta has shadda, the small sin. So it's double ta. So this is letter number 1. And the first ta is letter number 2. The second ta is letter number 3. So here we will say, the ta has fatha, so we will add kasra. It will be e. Ittaqu yawma. Is this clear? So I think that's everything about rule Hamzat al-Wasl. If the next letter has shadda, we follow the second letter, because this is letter number 3. Ittaqu, ittaqu, ittaqu yawma, or ittaqu rabbakum, fear Allah. Okay. How do you read this? Here, ista'inu. All of this rule, we apply it only if you started reading from Hamzat al-Wasl. How about if I didn't start reading from Hamzat al-Wasl? Like if I started from the previous letter like this, or a previous sentence, we skip Hamzat al-Wasl. We know that. We know Hamzat al-Wasl. If we didn't start from Hamzat al-Wasl, we don't read it. So we will say wasta'inu. Okay? We studied this rule just to know if you started from Hamzat al-Wasl, how do you start from Hamzat al-Wasl? Like if you found it in the beginning of the ayah. So how can we start? You know now how do you start? Okay. Here like this. It's in the beginning. So I have to know here. I will say alladhina. Okay. But how about if it's in the middle like this? Ala al-khashi'in. Should I say ala al-khashi'in? No. In the beginning, in the middle of the sentence, we don't read Hamzat al-Wasl. We say ala al-khashi'in. Here, should we say wa as-sabirin? No, sorry, was-salati? No. Hamzat was in the middle, we don't read it. Was-salati. Here, bis-sabri. Okay? Not bi as-sabri. So Hamzat was in the middle, we don't read it. If just your teacher want to test you, he will tell you how do you start from here. He will say as-sabri, as-salati, al-khashi'in. If he told you start from here, ista'inu, ittaqu. This is for test, okay? But if you will read the Quran, no, in the middle we never read Hamzat al-Wasl. Wasta'inu bis-sabri was-salati 'ala al-khashi'in. Okay? I think that's everything about Hamzat Wasl. Inshallah, I'll see you in another lesson. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.